What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, like always, Evil Eddie. Just getting into the studio here. Well, not even my studio. Obviously, it's 1:48 in the morning here on the 19th of November. Just wrapping up UFC down in Sydney, Australia. Fabricio Werdum versus Marcin Tybura. And here's the thing. I mean, it was a slow start of the night, right? We had a couple of decisions. Then it really picked up with a couple of really nice finishes, which we're going to recap in just a second here. I don't want to spoil it for anybody just yet. But then as the fights went on, after the Elias Theodoro fight, which was a pretty decent fight, it kind of just started going down to more decisions. Not really down, but ends up being more decisions. And unfortunately, the way that people look at cards nowadays is if your main event isn't a finish or some amazing war like John Bones Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson, then people aren't really talking about it or really think or label it as a 5-star night, so to say. So with that being said, we're going to be rating this card at the end of the show. I just want you to keep that in mind because there were some amazing finishes, which we could bring up later in the year. Could possibly end up one of the top finishes of the year. Big thing about that, though, is when people aren't familiar with the fighters' names that are getting the finishes, they don't give them as much credit as a guy with a bigger marquee name. Like if Fabricio Werdum, for say, went out there tonight and had a finish like who had a good finish tonight? The guy from Australia that had that jumping knee TKO against Coulter, Tybura. Totally butchering that name right now. I know that. But he had a flying knee, man. If Fabricio Werdum had that against Marcin Tybura, you'd have people freaking out on Twitter. At the same time, there were a couple of debut fighters. A lot of fighters were on a couple fight losing streak. Most of the fighters are hot and cold. Win, lose, win, lose. Perfect example of that is, who did I say? Tim Means. He's always hot and cold. Or Nick Lentz. Somebody like that. It's like hot and cold. Tonight wasn't a card where there was guys on crazy win streaks or anything like that. Matter of fact, Will Brooks, man, on a 3-fight losing streak. Who thought we ever see the day that Will Brooks is on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Nick Lentz, which I was just talking about, and I actually brought up his post-fight speech, which people were kind of ragging on. I know Garrett Bryant wasn't a big fan of it, but it did seem really genuine. He got the point across, and he's kind of taking this bad guy role. I mean, going back, I was kind of laughing about it tonight, and I even tweeted out, I bet he's going to call it BJ Penn. Watch him call it BJ Penn once again because there's just an old inside MMA joke. Nick Lentz, somebody tweeted to me tonight after I tweeted that out. They were like, Nick Lentz once said that a win over BJ Penn wouldn't do anything for him because it's not the biggest win of his career. Well, here we go now with definitely the biggest win of his career, beating Will Brooks. So this is going to be quite the talk because he's challenging American Top Team $50,000 to get any one of their fighters, and I actually saw a fighter on Twitter saying, let's do this. And his name, should I ruin it for everybody? I'm not going to ruin it for everybody because I don't want to get everybody too crazy about it. You want to know? Go check out my Twitter page and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so Damian Brown versus Camacho. Camacho wins via decision. Not really anything to really talk about. Kasim versus Chambers. Alex Chamber coming in this fight. Been a while since her last fight. Kasim, man, amazing head kicks. She looked a little stiff in the first round, but as the fight started going on, she looked really good. Started opening up a little bit. Besides that, guys, there really weren't that many crazy fights tonight. There were 3 finishes that I want to discuss, though. All right, so they brought up my boy James McSweeney tonight during the live broadcast. Let's see. I want to show you guys the finishes. All right, so Benoit versus Mokatrian. I mean, these names are pretty ridiculous right now at 2 in the morning. But, Benoit going into this fight, I remember 2 years ago he had an amazing performance where he took a short notice fight and he was just inching it out against Ben Nguyen. And everyone was saying if he had a full training camp, like we this is not the last time that we see this kid. Here he is 2 years later tonight, making a huge splash, breaks his hand in the middle of this fight, finishes it by TKO with a head kick. Let me get that recap up for you guys right now. Here's the image of this head kick. Unfortunately, you guys on the podcast can't see. Perfectly placed, broken hand, 3rd round finish. Absolutely amazing. Eric Shelton gets the win tonight. Let's see what else we got on tonight's card. I mean, not really much sticking out besides these 3 finishes, like I just said. Elias Theodorou against Dan Kelly. I mean, we can talk about that for a second. Not a finish, but Elias Theodorou had this amazing slap kick, and I swear he landed at least 30 of them, just back-to-back, slapping Dan Kelly all around the octagon tonight. And Dan Kelly is an older guy, and if he won tonight, man, it would have been huge for him because he's just been taking out some big names lately. I mean, beating Rashad Evans, I know you guys can all say it's not the same Rashad that we had a couple years ago, but Dan Kelly and Elias were on the same season of Ultimate Fighter. Elias obviously won that entire season, but Dan Kelly, man, didn't look that bad tonight and caught Elias a couple of times, but the endless head kicks, just whipping him. But every time Dan Kelly got a clinch, he was doing pretty good. And then put a couple of judo trips on him and was really pushing the pace. I mean, I'll give that to him. He was definitely pushing forward the entire time that they were in there, really not giving Elias a break at all. But Elias, like I said in the pre-show, has really good cardio, so really wasn't surprised there. I was expecting Elias to get the win here. So moving forward for him, I wonder what you guys suggest here. I mean, it hasn't been an easy road to the top, but he's inching his way up there, and beating a guy like Dan Kelly, it's definitely another notch in the bat. Jake Matthews getting a win here. Not really an exciting fight, but some pretty decent transitions in the fight. And here's what people are saying tonight, and this is why I keep circling back to this. When they're saying that it wasn't really an exciting night, I agree, but at the same time, any moment in this sport, something crazy can happen. How many times have we been sitting there, it's a 3rd round, it might not be the most exciting fight, but then all of a sudden we see a head kick finish, or we see an amazing submission. I mean, at any moment, I'm always at the edge of my seat in this sport. This is why I always say this is the best live sport there is. I grew up playing baseball, football, played football in high school, played baseball my entire life, played soccer. My little brother did wrestling. Always circling around sports. This is the most exciting sport. I've never been at the edge of my seat for 4 or 5 hours nonstop. Every time it's like the Super Bowl. Every time it's like the World Series. And the fun thing is when you get to learn who these fighters are that are fighting on the prelims, or when you're watching these guys come up like Bilal Muhammad coming up from Titan FC. Jose Shorty Torres just had an amazing performance last night on UFC Fight Pass. Watching these guys come up, they're training with champions like TJ Dillashaw, Cub Swanson. It's magic. So when people say these fights weren't exciting, well, if you were following the entire journey, like Jesse just tonight, I mean, I should have brought Jesse just up a little earlier in this recap show. Jesse just coming in there and fighting somebody like Beck Rawlings and getting the decision win over her. Beck Rawlings is an amazing boxer. She goes back to that season Ultimate Fighter. I'm sure you guys all remember her buddying up with Angela Magana. Jessie just going through so much in her life. I mean, if you want to check out her story, go check out an interview that she's done on a podcast. I'm trying to get Jessie Jess on the show as soon as I can. And I even had people tweeting me tonight, and I hope Jessie Jess doesn't see it. I was spelling Jessie Jess's name wrong. And I've known Jessie Jess for a while now, and I was spelling it Jessie instead of Jessey. People freak out. That's like, in a way, I feel like it's so silly because that's like somebody tweeting me and saying, "Hey Eddie," spelling Eddie, and I'd be like, "No, bro, it's capital E, capital D, capital D, capital Y. Get it right." Like, come on, it's Eddie. I know my name. I'm not gonna freak out if you say Ed with one D or two. It just doesn't matter. It's Jessie Jess. I mean, she might freak out about it, but it's just funny how people are always responding to that. And I'm not throwing any shade on the person that did. I actually like the person a lot that tweeted me. I think it's really funny. And I even tweeted him. I was like, I got to be careful. I might get killed over that. So a mutual laugh there. We all know how serious the MMA community is when it comes to the grammar Nazis out there. But big win for Jessie Jess tonight, man. Beating Beck Rawlings. What's next for Beck, though? I mean, just a really rough skid for Beck. Not really at the top of her game right now. Beating somebody like, losing to somebody like Jessie Jess on her debut. I mean, let's go to Beck Rawlings' page and let's look back at. So after tonight, it makes her 7-7. That's her official record right now. Unfortunately, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. She lost to Paige Van Zandt, and circling back to that fight, guys, highlight reel knockout from earlier or midway through 2016. Paige Van Zandt with that crazy kick. Beck Rawlings was not giving her any credit at all. Was actually laughing at her in the first round, and comes back, gets dropped with the kick, the can kick. Then she loses to Tisha Torres. Now she loses to Jessie Jess. So I don't know if she's going to go back down to Invicta. I mean, she has a pretty popular fan base. I don't know. It's not up to me. What do you guys think is going to happen with Beck Rawlings? And what do you think of my girl Jessie Jess? Our girl Jessie Jess making a huge splash on a co-main event for the UFC. Absolutely amazing. You guys can see here on the video cast my picks tonight. I went, well, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got the first 5 fights right. Then Ilwo Brooks lost. Then Makatran lost. Volkanovski won via TKO in the first round. Elias won. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went 9 for 9, 10, 11, 12. I went 9 for 12. That's pretty decent. You know what? I was supposed to bet on DraftKings tonight, and I missed it. I was like 5 minutes before the first fight. I went on DraftKings. I was all ready, pumped up to do it. I even talked to DraftKings on Twitter, and they hooked me up with the link and everything. I was going to tell you guys, how it went. I was going to, tell you exactly what happened, if I won, who to place money on, whatever. Didn't work out. We're going to have to do that for next week, which I actually think is Overeem Ngannou. I got to double check that, but if my calendar's right, I believe our next event, if it's not UFC 218, it is Overeem Ngannou. Let's check that. I'll let you know about that in just a second here. All right, let's see. No, our next event is November 25th, which is next week, and it's going to be Bisping versus Kelvin Gastelum. And this is so crazy. Michael Bisping already fighting again. 2 weeks later. I mean, what's up with everybody fighting every 2 weeks? Werdum fighting 2 weeks in a row. I mean, that fight I think was about 3 weeks ago now, but still. 2 paydays in a month, man. What's up with this? So then, Ultimate Fighter season finale, December 1st. And then we have UFC 218, Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo. If you guys check out the podcast, you can check out some of the reasons why I'm favoring Jose Aldo to win this. And just to give you a quick preview, I mean, going back to that Max Holloway, Jose Aldo 1 fight, Jose Aldo was winning the first couple of rounds there. You can say that Max was kind of baiting him in, try to tire him out, weather the storm. And then Jose Aldo started feeding into the taunts. That was his first mistake. Once he started doing that, it was all downhill. And Jose Aldo finished off the first 2 rounds solid, rocking Max Holloway. And then he just fed into all the taunts. So we had a couple of really awesome cards coming up. After that, Cub Swanson versus T-City, Brian Ortega. That's going down December 9th. December 16th, RDA versus Robbie Lawler. All the ingredients for Fight of the Year right there. Without a doubt. UFC 219 live on pay-per-view. It's to be announced still, but we do know Holly Holm versus Chris Cyborg is going to be up in that biatch. And that's going to be a title fight. So we got 1 title fight. Who knows? UFC might throw another title fight on there. I wouldn't be surprised. It's the end of the year card. It's a very important card. Remember last year they had Ronda returning. Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey. She's back. So they need something big for this one. I'm not saying Holly Holm versus Cyborg isn't it, but it doesn't seem like that's what they've settled on for the main event here. Bilal Muhammad squeaking it out against the Dirty Bird Tim Means. And Tim Means looked a little stiff in the first round as the fight went on, loosened up, started getting some really nice counters in on Belal Muhammad, but Belal was just landing some really nice power shots. It was really close. It really could have went either way. Even Belal seemed pretty surprised when they read off the decision. It was a great job for Belal too, coming up from Titan FC. It was really razor close, but Belal had a really nice speed advantage here. But the reach of Tim Means, man. Tim Means has been having a rocky road here in the UFC. Let's go back and check out his last couple of fights here. All right, Tim Means, the Dirty Bird against Belal Muhammad. This is one I got right. I thought Belal was going to get the TKO, and he could have. But, Belal, I give him a lot of credit for his cardio. He looks great in the third round. Oh, so here it is, guys. Or, no, it's not. No, it's not. I thought this was the fighter that was win-lose, win-lose. I can't remember who it was. But all right, Tim Means' last couple of fights, including tonight, losing against Belal Muhammad. Before this, he beat Alex Garcia, unanimous decision. Before that, he lost to Alex Oliveira in submission. Before that, there was a no contest with Alex Oliveira. You guys remember that? He got his foot stuck in the cage. Before that, he has a win over Homasi. And before that, win over John Howard. I mean, he's not doing that bad, I guess. But Belal Muhammad, man, tough fighter coming up from Titan FC. He had the amazing debut against Alan Jouban. Didn't win that. He lost at UFC 205, but other than that, he's looked absolutely amazing, beating Augusto Montano. Then tonight with a win over Tim Means, just the biggest win on this kid's career. So hats off to Belal Muhammad. And I found out last night, guys, I said this on the pre-show, Belal Muhammad, who's been on my show before in the past, I used to book a lot of my interviews, at least 60% of my interviews, with a guy named Brian Levick, King Lev. And I found out last night that he passed away a week after my birthday. And I talked to him 2 days before he passed away. This is a manager who really helped sculpt my career in the MMA community. He helped, like I just said, get a good portion of our interviews here at Pure Evil MMA. No matter what website I was with, he was always guiding me what people kind of steer away from, which I don't talk to anymore. Matter of fact, which is really funny, which is crazy. When they tell you these things, you're like, no, I don't think that person's like that. And come to find out. But Brian Levick, man, passing away. Belal Muhammad, I know that that must have affected him. Same manager as Tordy Shores. Jose Shorty Torres. So a big win for Belal Muhammad tonight there. And moving forward, I mean, that's a tough division, man. Tim Means, it's a big fucking win for him. What was your guys' fight of the night? I mean, Benoit, however we're saying his name. Lentz getting the win over Brooks. Collier losing with that vicious knee to the chin against Ty. Jesse getting the finish. I mean, there were a couple of decent fights tonight, guys. Werdum, man, and I know I haven't spent a lot of time on the Werdum fight, and it's a shame because, like I said at the beginning of this recap, if the fighters in the main event don't get a finish, you will rarely see media or fans run with the cart saying, "What a night! I can't believe this! Great night of fights!" Whatever the hoopla is on a good fight night, whatever you're seeing on a good fight night, you're not seeing, even if a lot of the fights with the fighters who aren't that well known have amazing finishes. We had 3 back-to-back finishes. If the main event, the co-main event, go to decision, it's like throwing it up in the air. So I got to ask you guys, what do you rate tonight's card? I'm giving it out of 5 stars. I think it was a solid 3. You got to keep in mind, it was a free card. We got to watch this for free on FS1. The beginning, of course, we had to watch on Fight Pass. Loving Fight Pass, by the way. Absolutely loving Fight Pass. Just renewed my subscription. Brushing up on a lot of old fights from way back in the early 2000s era. BJ Penn versus Jens Pulver. That happened right here in CT. I remember my buddies telling me about it. And I wasn't able to go to that show, unfortunately. I was into MMA at the time, but I mean, I wasn't looking to see when they were coming around town, and they were lucky enough to go see that fight. maybe not the most exciting of BJ Penn's fights, but that ended up being a really good next season to the Ultimate Fighter of those two getting that rematch. So a lot of little stars coming out of that show. Robert Emerson from that season, he's actually fighting over at Victory FC. He was recently the double champ, but then just lost to Rafion Stotts, who I believe just has an upcoming fight for Victory FC soon. I just got my press message from Scott Zier. But guys, we got so much looking forward to as we get towards the end of 2017 here. And I am looking forward to UFC 219, honestly. Even though we're losing Dominic Cruz versus Jimmy Rivera, they might have something up their sleeve. I mean, could Woodley be coming back? Is that a possibility? They were saying Woodley versus Diaz. I was talking earlier in the podcast, this whole McGregor versus Tony Ferguson that was allegedly supposed to be on UFC 219 that no one knew about. Take that slap on the wrist and go, like I said earlier. But if that really was their plan, if that actually was real, that's fucking awesome. I would have loved that. That's the perfect way to end the year, right? What's going to be another fight that they could possibly make? Think about how many champions are really left. You just had UFC 217. That was 3 champions that were just recently crowned. So those 3 are out. How many more champions you got? You got Holly Holm versus Cyborg. There's 1 title shot. Stipe's got to wait for Overeem Ngannou. I don't know exactly what her plan is. I think she was supposed to have that fight with Rocky, and that fell through. So, what is going to be the fight that they announced for UFC 219? Do you guys have any idea? I'm looking forward to UFC 218 as well. Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway 2. I cannot wait to break that fight down. I have a lot to talk about. A lot of people are counting Jose Aldo out. His career has kind of been tarnished by this whole McGregor thing, which is such bullshit. I mean, Jose Aldo, man, ever since I was, in high school, this guy was just a killer. Beating Cub Swanson in, 9 seconds with that flying knee? Jose Aldo, man. I mean, the people give him such a bad rap after that Conor McGregor fight. And it's such a shame. I was so nervous for that McGregor fight. I really did not think Conor was going to get past Jose Aldo, especially like that. And, even after that fight, Jose looked pretty good against Frankie Edgar, who was supposed to fight Max Holloway. Jose Aldo just beat Frankie Edgar at UFC 200. Not that was that recent. It was a little over a year ago now, but Jose Aldo looked great at the beginning of the Max Holloway versus Aldo fight. I cannot wait to break this down. You guys got to check it out here at Pure Evil MMA on mymmanews.com. Let me know what you guys thought about tonight's card before I get ahead of myself. On Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Hope you guys had a great fight night. And lastly, behave yourselves. Congratulations to Iceman. You have won the UFC Pick'em. Before I go, I can't believe I forgot this. Congratulations to our fantasy winner for Pure Evil MMA, Iceman, once again. And I've never seen anything like this. This guy nails it every freaking week. And for those of you guys that listen and aren't tight-knit with the Pure Evil MMA hashtag group, the Pure Evil MMA family, I will retweet Iceman's picks for his next couple events, because you guys definitely need to check it out. If you want to make some money, totally suggest going to check Iceman's out. He's ranked one of the top in the world over at UFC.com for the fantasy leagues. He's part of Pure Evil MMA Fantasy League, so it's awesome going head-to-head with him every week. I think I placed 4th this week. Here, matter of fact, let me read off the top winners, because I know you guys enjoy this part of it, and you guys do so much supporting the podcast. So let's read off our top list for tonight's UFC Fight Night. Sydney, Werdum versus Tybura. So number 1, Iceman. Number 2, Anna Deitcher. Number 3, Max. 4, Minion. Our brother Minion placing 4th. 5th, yours truly. I'll take 5th. 6th, Ann, Chillzone 95. 7th, Disturbed. 8th, Genuine Geo. 9th, Pat. 10th, BLT. Brock Lesnar's teddy bear. I just recently started following this guy on Twitter. He's on YouTube, guys. You should definitely go check him out on Twitter. Brock Lesnar's teddy bear. Tweet some funny stuff. and we've been getting pretty close with them using hashtag Pure Evil MMA. 11th place MMA pick. Go check out his artwork. He posts some really awesome artwork on Twitter and Instagram. 12th, Wicked Ways 1972. Jimmy there. 13th, Yusuf. General Yusuf placing 13th, making top 15. 14th, The Paz Man. And 15th, Maddie 1982. And you know what? I mean, how perfect for The Paz Man to make top 15. He's down in Australia. And before I let you guys go, one of the craziest things that Paz has ever shown me is a picture of this little crazy spider. I mean, it was actually a pretty big spider. It looked a little smaller than my hand. And it had all these little glowing, like, diamonds on its back. He took a picture with flash. There was, like, all these diamonds on his back. And he was like, dude, I stepped on this thing, and all those little eyes, all those little things are actually eyes. Those are all babies on the back of the spider, and when I stepped on it, they all ran all over the place. And he took a picture, sent to me. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. And they got some crazy freaking insects down there in Australia. What a great night, guys. In my opinion, 3 out of 5 stars here at Pure Evil MMA. What do you guys think? Let me know on Twitter. Have a great night, guys. And finally, I can say this. Behave yourselves.